Welcome back to my training session. Learn with me. Today we are going to continue with the uh, cloud platform integration CPI. In that we are going to see a very interesting topic called value mapping. Value mapping is nothing like you are using a lookup table in Excel files, right? You are reading a one column from Excel and look up the same data in another Excel file and retrieve some data. Okay, this is exactly same what we are going to do in value mapping. That means when from the incoming message you pick up one value and read that value in one specific table like structure, then pick up the relative information and push the data. That means from the incoming message you will have one value, but the same value will be translated to the receiving side. That is what value mapping is going to do it. Let us see the picture here. The incoming message is having ID, type, article and priority, and the receiving side we are going to have the structure called ID, type, article, priority, same thing. Maybe same or may not be same, but let us take this example. Apart from that, we are going to have another field called SLA. Okay, so when you do the message mapping, first I will say that value mapping will be used along with the message mapping. Okay, in this message mapping the SLA does not have any input, but this will be like based on the type the SLA will be decided. So we are going to create one value mapping table or value mapping structure inside the iFlow, and when we are doing the iFlow integration process, inside the message mapping the type value will be input to this value map table, and the relative information will be pushed back to the SLA. So this is what we are going to do it in value mapping exercise. Okay, so by definition you can say that value mapping is a powerful tool in CPI that allows you dynamically transform. Okay, this is dynamic transform between two different formats of the data structure. So it is very flexible, easy to adapt to any changes. Tomorrow if you have any other thing, just you have to adjust the value map table only. The remaining thing will be as it is. Then it is automatic transformation. You need not worry about changes manually. Only thing is, if you want to add a new type, you will add it here. If you want to change in the SLA days, you will change it here. So the remaining thing will go as it is. Okay, now we will see how we are going to create this value mapping and how we are going to use this in a message mapping in the iFlow. Okay, let me go to iFlow and we will start doing that exercise. We are inside the CPI. Now we will create the value mapping. Okay, before going to that, what I will do is I will show you my case study which I am going to do it. It is like this. I have the input message structure like this, and it is a receiving message structure. So last class we did that how to message mapping can be created like this. When the message comes in, using the message mapping we map the fields to the receiving structure, like apple to apple, orange to orange, like that. So here the ID will go to ticket number, article will go to problem description, priority will go to priority, type will go to type. Okay, like I will show what value mapping. Now we are going to do the same thing, but in last class what we did is we made the SLA as a constant. We made 3 days as a constant. Now instead of constant we are going to define the SLA days based on the type value comes in. like this. Okay, if the type is application 5 days, infra is 7 days, and something like that. Okay, here I put 2 times infra. Okay, now I will go to value mapping. So as usual, you can go here, go to trial 2, the package. I will add a value mapping. I am going to add value mapping table like this. This table I am going to create. Okay, I will give a value mapping name, value mapping 3. So description can be anything. VM3 I am doing the same thing. Source I will give just for why we are going source is like an identifier from which table. It is like a table name, and it is a target name. I will add it. VM3 is created. I will open the VM value mapping. Now we are going to create the value map now. Start with edit. Then you have to say add. This is a header. So I will give the same name, agency name, source name as it is, S4, and I will give any name here. For me, source type. Okay, this is the case sensitive, so be careful. Source type, target T4. I will say SLA. Okay, this is header. So I am whatever the source comes in, the type is going to take up, and whatever the T4 target, I am going to put it in SLA. So this is simply a name. You can give any name here. Then I can. Now I am going to add the. Now I am going to add the detail for this. So if it is infra, I will say it is 10 days. Okay. Another line, if it is application, then it is 5 days. Okay, I am going to define only 2. I will explain why I am giving only 2, so that we can have the exception case. Application infra is defined, and I will save it. Okay, capital S for small type, capital T for small SLA, that you remember it. So now this gives an explanation. From S4 type, if it is infra, the T4 SLA will be stored as 10, and it is a reverse bidirectional. See, this is a bidirectional. Now the value mapping is defined, then I will save it. Remember, it has to be deployed, only then it will be available in the your iFlow message mapping. So deploy, it is a triggered for deployment. Okay, it is successfully deployed now. It is successfully deployed now. Then I will go back to trail 2. I will open up any one of my iFlow. Let me go to message. Okay, this is, let me open up this one, message mapping VM. Okay, I will start from the beginning again. I will explain you what I have done so that I will recreate it for you. Last class what we did is we created like this, we mapped it, right? Okay, last class what we did is we did everything root to root, everything is ticket to ticket, ID to ID, ID to ticket number, ID to ticket number, article to problem, priority to priority, type to type, and apart from that what we did is SLA we made it as a constant, date we assign the current date, and serial number we assign the counter. Okay, but for the SLA what we did is we made the constant SLA, we made the constant. Instead I am going to define the value mapping. So what I will do is I will delete it and recreate it. Okay, so SLA is there. Now you have to define for SLA. SLA is based on type, right? So what you do is you drag and drop the type here, type, bring it here. So type should be available here. So type is there and SLA is there. Okay, now you look for the value mapping here. So I will use value mapping. Value mapping is coming here. Now go to advanced. So you have to give the source agency. What we did is we give S4, right? Capital S4, and identifier was we said type, small type, and receiving party we said T4, we set T4, and it was small SLA, right? Now use key on failure. On failure, either you can go for a exception or given a default value. So default value I will take 25 days, just for an example. So anything, any exception comes, like a kind of a not found case, then it will give by default value 25. Either you can go for exception also, but when going for a very big project we will go for exception. Just for understanding we will put default values. Okay, now simulate. Let me see the values are perfectly doing or not before going to the message mapping. So we are inside the part of a message mapping. So see that, simulate. Sorry, I did not connect at all. Okay, now you have to connect it. Connect the type as a input to the value mapping, and its output is connected to SLA. Now you got the point. So we created like in artifact we created a separate value mapping, and inside another iflow. Inside message mapping, we are using that value mapping based on the type input. Okay, now go here. Still it is giving error. Incomplete message mapping. It will come. Now let me say simulate. Yeah, it is everything done. So I will use the same input file. Test it. Done. Message mapping is completed. That means our value mapping is also working. Say we define infra 10 days. 10 days is coming, and for application it is 5 days. We define application 5 days, and infra third ticket is infra again, then it should be 10 days, and fourth one is hardware. Hardware we did not define in the value mapping, so the hardware is coming as a default. We put a default value, that is why it comes as a 25, right? So okay, now you can test it here also. Instead of infra, I will say the ticket one is coming as 10 days. I will put apps application. Again test it. Say now it has come as 5. That's all. This is how the value mapping will be working. So let me go to the iflow again. Okay. So now we are back in the iflow. Okay. So this iflows contain only message mapping, and as usual I will simulate starting point and ending point. So in the starting point I will be passing the XML file, input XML. Okay, I will paste it here. Okay, and simulate. Simulation is completed. So at the end of the file I will see that my body. So it gives me back the XML with the SLA calculated. So if we go at 1001, the type is infra, so the SLA is 10 days. If you go to application, it will be 5 days. Okay, let me open up in the browser. Format and beautify. See, the infra it is 10, and for application it is 5, and infra is also 10, and for hardware it is coming as default value 25, which was the exception case. Okay, let me go to my cloud integration. So when you see it, when you see the complete AI flow, so the input comes, the message mapping will try to map the fields as per you defined in the message mapping, but you inside the message mapping, for one field we are doing the computation based on the value mapping. So the value mapping works along with the message map and works like this. So you can try with your own logic and update me. I hope the value mapping is understood to you, and please post your comments, and thank you for watching. Thank you so much.